horrific accusations, so involving young singers, like children.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's insane.
He makes R. Kelly look like a decent guy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It is crazy.
So check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher. I'm signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's.
What if everything you thought you knew about Justin Bieber's rise to fame was a carefully constructed illusion? Imagine the baby hitmaker not as a global teen sensation, living the dream, but as a young boy caught in a chilling web of manipulation, power, and silence. Now picture Joe Rogan, stoic, sharp, unflinching, struggling to hold back tears mid-episode as he absorbs the full weight of Bieber's truth. Sounds like a plot twist from a Netflix docuseries, right? But this is real life. And it's heavier than anyone expected. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It is free and help us bring you enjoyable content. And of course, watch till the end. In a recent bombshell episode that's been clipped, quoted, and dissected across the internet, Joe Rogan sat down to unpack newly leaked court documents, behind-the-scenes footage, and chilling testimony from Justin Bieber himself. The subject? The dark underbelly of fame. And specifically, Bieber's harrowing experience during his early years, reportedly under the influence and management style of none other than Sean "Diddy" Combs. What followed was more than just an interview. It was an emotional unraveling, both of a pop star's past and of a culture that's normalized exploitation behind velvet ropes and private jets. Let's dive into the jaw-dropping revelations, the gut-punching moments of the interview, and why Rogan's emotional response isn't just justified. It's a wake-up call for all of us. We all saw the YouTube videos. A tiny kid with swoopy hair, singing his heart out on the steps of a Canadian theater. The next thing we knew, he was on stage with Usher, signing record deals and getting mobbed by screaming fans. It felt like a fairy tale. But what if that Cinderella story was more like a trap? According to the documents Joe Rogan reviewed on air, Justin's sudden skyrocketing wasn't just about talent or timing. It was the result of calculated grooming by powerful industry players. And Diddy, a music mogul with a reputation for controlling his protégés, was reportedly at the center of it all. Justin, just a teenager at the time, was surrounded by adults, managers, agents, execs, whose interests weren't necessarily aligned with his well-being. While the world saw a smiling boy on stage, behind the curtain, Bieber was reportedly isolated from his family, his schedule micromanaged to the minute, and subjected to relentless pressure to perform. There were allegations of emotional manipulation, contractual loopholes, and, perhaps most hauntingly, an environment that normalized his exhaustion and vulnerability. Why didn't we notice? Why didn't he speak out sooner? The answers lie deeper than contracts and stardom. And Joe Rogan's episode starts peeling back those layers. But wait till you hear what the leaked footage showed. Let's go there next. The video was grainy, time-stamped, and never meant to go public. It showed a young Justin, barely 15, in a private party setting with several adults, none of them his age, none of them his family. Diddy appears briefly in the corner of the frame, smiling. The clip itself might not scream scandal at first glance, but when paired with the timeline and context, it paints a far more troubling picture. Joe Rogan paused during the episode as he watched this footage in real time. His expression shifted from curiosity to concern and then to disbelief. "This is not okay," he said, voice cracking slightly. "That's a kid. That's AF ****ing child." Throughout the footage, Bieber looks uncomfortable. He laughs when others laugh, But the eyes say something different: detachment, confusion, unease. If you've ever looked back at an old photo of yourself during a time you thought you were happy, only to recognize the sadness hiding in plain sight, you'll understand.
Justin Bieber had a post the other day on his Instagram talking about all the drugs that he did when he was younger and how much it fucked him up. And now he's got a relationship with the Lord, and he's got, he's married, and he's trying to be a normal person.
Yeah.
But he's struggling with the fact that he was insanely famous when he was a kid.
Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, he could buy you one also while you're out.
He got me a Lamborghini. And
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Understand the gut punch of that moment. But the most disturbing part? This footage is allegedly just the tip of the iceberg. According to court documents now under review, there were years of behavior and environments that left long-lasting psychological scars. So, how did Bieber cope? This is where the real heartbreak begins. During a recent, off-camera deposition leaked online, Bieber finally spoke out, clearly, emotionally, and without his usual publicist's polished tone. "I wasn't free," he said. "I couldn't go home. I couldn't see my mom when I wanted. I couldn't even cry without someone telling me it would mess up the brand." He went on to describe a life that felt like a machine, where every emotion had to be filtered through a lens of profitability. He wasn't just a teenager with feelings, he was a product, and Diddy, according to Bieber's testimony, held the keys. Rogan, visibly shaken, took a long pause on air after reading Bieber's statement. He wasn't just reading words. He was witnessing the weight of a decade-old silence finally breaking. "This is why so many child stars crash and burn," he said. "You give a kid the world, but you strip away their agency." It's one thing to read tabloids speculating about celebrity breakdowns. It's another to hear, in a star's own words, that their entire identity was manufactured, monetized, and managed like a startup. But wait, how did Justin finally break free? Justin Bieber's healing didn't happen overnight. According to both public interviews and leaked court records, it took a near-nervous breakdown, a dramatic break from his team, and a return to faith and family to begin rebuilding himself. One of the more eye-opening moments Rogan shared was how Bieber quietly took steps to sever ties with several of his former handlers, moving out of Los Angeles and into a more reclusive lifestyle. He reconnected with his wife, Haley, as a support anchor, began therapy, and started speaking more openly about his mental health, even if it risked damaging his brand. "I had to choose me," Bieber said in a therapy session transcript Rogan read aloud. "Even if it meant losing everything else." It's this fierce reclaiming of self, this raw and painful rebirth, that left Rogan visibly emotional. He's not perfect. None of us are. But damn, he survived something dark, and he's standing, Rogan said, voice low, holding back tears. That survival didn't just happen. It was fought for. And Rogan, a man known for strength and skepticism, couldn't ignore the emotional gravity of what Bieber endured. But the question now is, what does this mean for the industry and for the next Bieber in the making? If you think Bieber's story is a one-off, think again. Rogan emphasized that this kind of manipulation isn't rare in the entertainment world, it's just rarely exposed. The machine thrives on silence, NDAs, and the glamorization of the grind. These are kids being sold to the highest bidder, Rogan said. And we call it opportunity. From Britney Spears to Lindsay Lohan, and now Bieber, the pattern is unsettlingly consistent. Early fame, adult control, emotional collapse, and if they're lucky, a comeback story. But too many never make it to that final chapter. What shocked viewers most about this episode wasn't just Bieber's story. It was Rogan's willingness to sit with the pain, to not move on quickly, to not crack a joke to ease the tension. And as Rogan ended the episode, he said something that's now gone viral. If we don't start protecting these kids, we'll keep watching them fall apart. And pretending we're surprised. So, where do we go from here? As disturbing as this all is, there's hope in the fallout. Bieber is finally finding peace. The public is starting to demand transparency. And podcasters like Rogan are willing to risk backlash to say what needs to be said. But real change requires more than outrage. It requires action. Fans need to stop worshiping fame as a one-way ticket to happiness. The industry needs to stop treating young stars like commodities. And maybe most importantly, these stories need to keep being told. Because the more light we shine, the less room there is for darkness. If this article hit you in the gut, good. That's the start. These stories aren't just gossip, they're modern-day cautionary tales. So what do you think? Should the entertainment industry face consequences for what it's done to young stars like Bieber? Should we demand stricter protections for child artists? Drop your thoughts. Share this article. Start the conversation in your group chat, at your dinner table, or on your own platform. Because silence protects the powerful. And truth? Truth protects the vulnerable. Let's make noise. Let's make change.